Today welcome to part 4 of my Rhythm of War spoiler series. Today we're going to talk about part 4 of Rhythm of War and all the stuff that happened during that part that really stood out to me. And that means spoilers for the entire book as well as the entire Cosmere, because there's likely going to be stuff that happened in part 4 that makes me think about the Cosmere entirely. So spoilers for all of it. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So, the first thing in part 4 that really stood out to me was the trial, was Adolin's trial, their entire reason for going to Shadesmar, right? So, from the beginning, from jump, everybody was saying this is not going to work, this is a bad idea. Even the, awesome letters that Yasna and Navani and Queen Finn and all the people sent with Adolin to give to the Honor Spren to beg for forgiveness and all this stuff. Not even beg forgiveness, but apparently the letters was more like, y'all are being stupid, you need to come fight with us kind of thing, which I don't see them, responding very well to. But the entire thing was set up basically saying it's going to fail. Adolin said it was going to fail. Everybody asked about it, said it probably wasn't going to work, he was likely going to fail. So I went into it completely not thinking it was going to work. I was like, okay, so basically what's going to happen is no matter what he does, no matter how good the trial goes, they're not going to clean sweep, say, everybody, let's go bond. It's going to be the young, rebellious Honor Spren that are going to go and be like, skip y'all, we're going to go help humans because that's what Honor would have done and stuff like that. I saw the outcome of the trial. It went exactly the way I would have seen it going. The coolest part about it was obviously the Maya stuff. The fact that Adolin was able to give some of his strength to Maya so that she could speak and stuff. It makes me wonder, because the Ink Spren, his tutor, said, it's not a Radiant Spren, because she was like, there's a bond here, and he said he's no Radiant. She's like, yeah, you're not a Radiant, but there is a bond here. So that makes me wonder what kind of bond is that? Is it going to be because I see the Nahel bond as more Spren-sided than human-sided, the Spren gets awareness and physical manifestation, but the human gets powers and stuff. So I'm wondering if this is going to be more like the Spren can pull human strength in order to be more aware, I guess. Because like I was saying, my theory is that they're like the mindless Spren, only slightly worse. So with the proper bond, does that then mean they can be, not mindless, basically become normal again, I guess. But I feel like Brandon would add more magic to that, give him some kind of power. And the fact that the Herald Kalak was the judge, not very surprising to me, because I assume that's what they would have done if they weren't running around Roshar. Some of them would have, been trying to get off world, so hanging out on the borders of their world as much as they could. So the trial went basically exactly how I expected the trial to go. And it kind of puts me in the same position as the way I feel about the invasion itself. It was a vehicle. But basically because the invasion went off exactly the way I saw it happening, it made me feel the same way I felt about the invasion. It felt like a vehicle for Brandon to explain something. The invasion, the only purpose for the invasion was so that Rabonio and Navani could work together so that we could learn about Warlight and Anti-Light and stuff like that. In this trial, the only reason the trial existed so that we could learn about Shallan's former Spren. We can learn about the fact that they're not such a, the Honor Spren are such a monolithic culture and stuff like that. And it just never felt like the trial, because I felt like we were promised a trial and then we didn't really get a trial. We got a half-ass trial that resulted in a win and a loss. But then what the Ink Spren said about the real test being the loyalty between Adolin and Maya, but nothing about that was set up really, unless you count Oathbringer. So I don't know. I'm very wishy-washy on the entire thing. I really like the idea that we chose and all that stuff. I like the developments of that, but the rest of it, I'm bleh. And of course, though, in this part, we get more Navani and Rabonio. this is when we actually get Rabonio using the anti-light to kill her daughter, and like, you know, get all those discoveries and stuff. And like, Navani figures all this stuff out, and she's so insanely smart, but she has like major imposter syndrome. Like, when Rabonio like compliments her as a scholar, and she like almost corrects her, saying she's not a scholar, but then just kind of lets it lie and takes the compliment. I was like, man, that just kind of, that left me with like so much more just desire for her backstory. I don't know if Brandon said there is going to be a Navani book, but I think there should be, because I connected this whole situation with the situation from the prologue where she was talking to Gavilar, and not even talking to Gavilar, but she was thinking in her head that like she's just some backwater country girl who's basically pretending to be queen and stuff like that. So that makes me think like, oh, she clearly had imposter syndrome from, you know, a long time ago. So there would have been some interesting flashbacks to see of like her trying to, you know, be the queen, trying to be the wife of this warlord conqueror guy, while she just kind of feels like a, you know, regular person and all this kind of stuff. So like that would have been some fun flashbacks. So I kind of think she should have been a flashback character more so than Venli was. And I think I've heard other people on YouTube say the same. And like, I agree. Like, maybe we will get a Navani book later, or maybe it'll tie more into other stuff. But I really feel like all this Parshendi stuff, all the Venli stuff, all of this could have been a novella, the way we got Edge Dancer, the way it was like taking place during another story, but like, you know, somewhere else. And there was some other fun little stuff in there, like when Kaladin was knocked out and like David went and did some awesome stuff, and like, you know, being real, super real Bridge 4 had his awesome kind of Bridge 4 moment and stuff. And like the whole revelation that he is not just battle shock, but he's like slow or whatever. And like, I like it. I like it shows, it's basically proof of concept of the way Kaladin is capable of healing, because like Dabbit talks about like Kaladin showed up and saved him from death and all that, because he was resigned to die in that first bridge run he was in and stuff. And Kaladin saved him. And like just being there for him and just talking to him, not judging him, all this kind of stuff, it kind of helped him out and like, you know, got him to the point where he's able to speak again and all this stuff and, you know, be who he is. So it's very much proof of concept that like Kaladin has his way of helping and Liren has his way of helping, because Liren sucks. I don't like Liren anymore. Liren sucks. like he's alright, but like he says some stuff that I just can't really get over. And the more I marinate on it, the less I like him. It's just like, ugh. Even though he did kind of come around in the end, but it was very begrudgingly. Like, I don't even feel like he would have put the Shash glyph on his forehead if, like, Hasina didn't basically say, get over your crap. I know you feel like you are the reason Tien died, because he, to a degree, it is his fault, because he did steal the Goblet of Spheres and caused all of the issue they had. So, you know, he can't really be completely blamed, because it's Rashon's own, you know, decisions and blah, 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 blah. But he has a right to feel the way he does, but that doesn't give him the right to be crappy to the other son he's got left. Well, he's got Orton too, but like, you know, don't go 3 for 3 and be terrible to Orton too. So he needs to get better with that, and then I'll come back around to it. But basically, it proves the concept of the way Kaladin helps. So he can still protect, he can still help, and he can still be awesome. So I thought that was really cool. That's some fun part of part 4 too. But the biggest thing to me that stood out to me in this whole part is the Shallan stuff. So I'm fairly fascinated with DID, like dissociative identity disorder. This, I kind of think about it too. It's a little bit man behind the curtain, not so much, but I think about the way Brandon kind of stumbled into it, because I feel like it wasn't really his purpose to give her DID, to give Shallan DID. When the direction he kind of like, I mean, maybe he was, I don't know. Because she was already disassociating the way she was putting memories away and stuff like that. That's disassociation. But she was doing it too willingly. So I don't know, it may be just more of a dissociation thing, not so much the full fractured, you know, identity kind of thing. But the whole thing, like learning about her original sprain and all that, it kind of made sense to me. But it felt very, I don't know. It didn't feel as organic as I would have liked it, because like when we find out about her killing her dad and killing her mom and stuff, like that felt very revelatory. It felt very like, whoa, holy crap. But like, I can't help but notice that that Spren was just there in that market or whatever, and was just happened to be there when they were there. I mean, yes, the outer Spren takes care of Deadeyes, and that other Spren said they knew that Spren, so they were there. And if Shallan is still bonded to the blade, then the Deadeye probably would have just meandered that way anyway, because they like to stay close to the person they're bonded to. So maybe that's why it was just there, but it felt just so convenient. It just felt so convenient. So when we had when we started getting clues about like formulas being created and stuff like that, the potential development of this new persona and stuff, I like that idea because, like, sometimes it happens, like, even a person with DID, like, you know, an adult or whatever, like, they experience trauma or something very triggering that, like, triggers their trauma and stuff like that. They can then fracture again and develop a new persona. So I thought it was something like that happening with Shallan, but I couldn't really see the proper trigger or anything like that. Maybe it was just, like, confrontation that was causing these kind of triggers, but it's weird the way Formless is presented when you know who Formless is. So it's like Formless is supposed to be this fourth persona that's somebody separate, but then it's also presented as a specific amalgamation of all of them. But that would technically be a healed Shallan is like the proper amalgamation of all of them. But like, it felt like I think the effect was supposed to be something like forcing two puzzle pieces that don't go together in order to try to say the picture is okay. I think it was attempting something like that. But the way it came back around, she basically was getting much worse before. Like, I guess you have to get worse in order to get better. She has to see all the all her memories, get all her proper memories back, and then basically confront it and deal with it, and then Veil is gone. So now Veil is gone. Shallan has all of those memories and those skills, and she's going to, like, develop those skills more, I guess. I suppose it's different versus a persona using them versus her using them, fully being aware of it kind of thing. So now she's gone, and it makes me just think of Radiant, because, like, yes, Veil was her Veil. She was basically the personification of the amnesia wall she was throwing up when she was basically, chucking the memories away and stuff like that. So that makes sense. So, okay, then based on my own theories about Shallan's past, that then started to make me think about Radiant, like who was Radiant? If Radiant is like a trauma holder too, if she holds any kind of trauma and that trauma is based around being a Radiant, then that just makes me think that Shallan's parents were like I think back in the day they were dealing with the Skybreakers and like they were trying to forcibly recruit Shallan and probably her older brother into the Skybreakers. That's why Halloran ended up, working with them before he got killed and stuff. And then she accidentally bonded a Cryptic, which caused an issue, which like led up to all of that stuff happening. I think. I don't know. It's I feel like there's got to be something like that in there. But I feel like if it's something based in her parents trying to force her to become like a Skybreaker, then maybe something about that, forced Radiant nature makes her, have trauma around it. So she needs to put all the sword use and stuff like that in Radiant and she can't use it. But I don't know. It's, too soon to tell, I guess. Maybe Shallan will have another, little arc where she integrates. I don't know. The last book is in 10 days, within 10 days. So within that 10 days, she's going to just, got another one. Like, I'm fully reintegrated now. I'm just, normal hunky-dory person. Or, like, is she going to continue to have these kind of issues? Because, like, Kaladin issues aren't going to go away. So I don't really think hers are going to go away just like that either. So yeah, part 4. I really liked part 4. But, like, I liked all the stuff in it. But, like, similar to what I said before, the shell, the vehicle that got us there, I'm very mad on, but I really like the stuff we got. I like the development of Shallan, even though some of it happened in a psychological way that I don't precisely understand. But it read well. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Like the Adolin thing, I didn't like the trial, but I really liked the whole Maya development and all that stuff. That is going to become like the nature of this new bond is going to basically help forge him into being allowed to be himself and not having to worry so much about being Dalinar's shadow and stuff like that. So I think that's really awesome. So that's great development. Everything that happened with Kaladin, basically working, just trying to deal, being Kaladin. Oh, and something else awesome that happened with Kaladin. He got a story from Wit, because we always got to get a decent little story from Wit. And because of that story, I'm working on some fan art because Kaladin needs a puppy, and I'm going to paint it. So that's my plan for that. So stay tuned. I'll probably post it on the channels or have it up here or something. Who knows? But apart from that, not a whole lot happened in part 4. It was very much, getting ramping up for the final part, the last bit that goes on in part 5. And I really like part 5. It wasn't a very big, Sanderson Lanch. It wasn't a big ending the way Brandon typically does, but it was still pretty big, and it caught me by surprise, and it hit me hard. So we're going to talk about that one next time. So remember, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you can catch all the videos that I'm posting. I'm trying to get to the point where I can be consistent at 3 videos a week. So stay tuned for that, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.